With a snip of a ribbon, Carpinteria's back country was finally reopened. The Franklin Trail, Carpinteria's only access to the back country, had been closed for over 40 years. But in November of 2013, the public once again had access to the back country.
Well, hallelujah, it's about time. We saw children going up and down the trail today that have probably never been up those hills, and now they'll be able to tell their friends in school about it, and I think this will become one of the most popular places in Carpinteria.
The two people who spearheaded the substantial effort to reopen the trail were Bud Girard and Jane Murray.
Bud Girard and I are the co-chairs of the Friends of the Franklin Trail, and in 2010, Bud invited me to work with him to help raise the funds to reopen the trail. And so we began our efforts, and it's been 3 years now, and we are just as excited now about this trail as we were when we started.
So once we get these all linked together, it'll be 9 miles from here to Jameson Lake.
From the kiosk, the trail wraps around the west side of the high school, behind the stadium and over a creek. Then it winds through private ranches, up a short hill, and enters the chaparral. There are a number of switchbacks as hikers can begin to enjoy unprecedented views of the Carpinteria Valley, as well as the ocean and Channel Islands. Near the top of Phase 1, hikers can take a short detour and enjoy the view from Frank's Bench.
Yeah, this trail behind us goes up to Frank's Bench, and that's in honor of Frank Lauda, who was an architect, attorney, contractor in the area.
Well, look who's up here.
Well, good morning. How are you, Larry?
Good, Art. What do you think about this spot?
Oh, it's magnificent. Very nice bench. Great views both ways. Nice shade. Place to have a snack.
Frank's Bench is just gorgeous.
And a great place to stop for a snack or breakfast or to rest.
At the turnoff for Frank's Bench, the Franklin Trail becomes wider and uses the old Edison Service Road. And from here, it's just a short distance uphill to the end of the road for Phase 1.
Okay, this is as far as we can go in Phase 1.
Well, the first part of the trail is pretty flat, but once you get to where you start climbing in the elevation, it's gets your heart rate up. It's a good trail, great trail to burn off a few calories and turn around and get some great views.
It's a dream come true. Everybody in Carp's been waiting for it for so long, and it's awesome to be up here.
It's steep enough, to keep people challenged, but it's not a challenge for little kids, so I love it.
The views are spectacular, but the serenity was excellent.
Bud Girard explained the delay in opening Phases 2 and 3 of the trail.
Rest of the trail through Rancho Monte Alegre is being held up until we get the easement eased to eliminate the need for fencing on both sides. From here on, it will follow this road about 3.5 miles, and it'll be up and down into canyons and up over the next ridge, and it's going to be a lot of elevation change as you hike it. But it'll be on a nice road, and so it'll be easy walking. This road is an Edison road, an easement through the property that goes up to where there's a lot of big towers that cross east to west. And that's just below the old Franklin Trail in the Forest Service. And so we're going to have to do a little trail building from the Edison Towers from this road up to the National Forest boundary and to join in the old Franklin Trail.
It's hoped that the outstanding issues relating to Phases 2 and 3 of the trail can be worked out to have the entire trail open sometime in 2015.
The lesson here is we need to protect what we have, what's important to us before it's gone, because it was really challenging, it remains challenging to complete the Franklin Trail. Building a trail through an urbanized agricultural area is very complicated and challenging and expensive, and we learned that lesson in trying to bring back the Franklin Trail.
There were many challenges for the project. One was to design trails that navigate through private property without interfering with ranch operations and the high school. Claude Garciacelay of the county parks described other challenges.
Well, of course, the challenges begin with funding. We spent many years trying to find grant funding from the state and other agencies, and then of course the challenges are getting the easements themselves, getting the rights of the public to actually walk across private properties.
We approached fundraising on this project very similar to the way that we did with the Carpinteria Bluffs effort. We went out to the public, we got major donors to come forward and give very generously.
Well, the Foot by Foot slogan came because we were trying to find a way to raise some funds for the trail. And so I think it was Ted Rhodes who decided that foot by foot might be a good way to go. So he divided the total length of the trail into our budget and came up with $17 for 1 foot of trail. And 2 feet, you're walking. Or you have 2 wheels, that's 2 feet is $34. Or if you're riding a horse, that's 4 feet and $68. This was how we began our fundraising campaign for the Franklin Trail.
A step at a time may seem slow, but if you keep stepping, you can do amazing things, especially in a team, the way Bud and Jane Murray and all these people have worked together, plodding along and never giving up. It's quite inspiring.
We've had many generous community members who have given us donations, and foundations in Santa Barbara and Carpinteria have also donated. The county of Santa Barbara has given us a very generous donation. We acquired a grant from Caltrans from their mitigation funds. The Land Trust for Santa Barbara County has also been a player in working on the trail. There have been some obstacles along the way. The first one that I can think of is the difficulty of getting the trail through the chaparral up on the mountainside. It was just like going through a dense jungle. And with the perseverance of Ray Ford and his crew, we managed to do it.
We didn't have enough.
Bud Girard described the challenge of having the trail pass through a creek bed.
The Fish and Game, Fish and Wildlife, laid down the law. They said you cannot do anything on the banks of this ditch. And then there's these oak trees, and we couldn't get around without disturbing them. So the solution was to put this bridge in, bringing this bridge in from LA in 2 halves, bolting it together over there, and a 100-foot boom then picked it up and threaded it through the trees in here and set it on the abutment.
Bud described another challenge of making the steep terrain accessible to horses.
When we put steps in, we have to put the steps 7 feet apart, so a horse can get all 4 feet back on the ground before they take the next step. That's part of trail building.
The first people to use trails in the Franklin Canyon were the Chumash Indians. Later, ranchers took their cattle up and over the canyon to graze. However, the trail was not officially open to the public until 1913.
Once the trail opened in 1913, it almost instantly, immediately was a hit with local Carpinterians. First ones to take advantage of this were the local guys that wanted to go deer hunting. So they would mount up their horses, plan on extended stays of 10 days, several weeks, late in fall when deer season starts. And the lima beans had all been harvested and dried, and the farmers were ready to take a break, and the guys would just load up their horses. This is an example of a backcountry saddle with all the accoutrements for hunting. They would hunt, and they would sometimes get 2, 3, 4 deer a day. It really was recreation. It was a way to stay in touch with the wild lands behind Carpinteria, put meat on the table, and brought stories to the fireside too as well.
And then in 1930, the access was closed on that trail because of a fire that a picnicker set, and so the trail was closed. But people would access the area on the Edison Road, which is in place today.
Trail use fell off during World War II, and finally in the 1970s, trail access was closed entirely to the public. The property owners were concerned about people coming through their land and spreading cinnamon root rot in the avocado groves.
And then after that, the county was able to acquire easement through those properties. And so that's when the thought was put into people's heads that we could actually get a dedicated trail from Carpinteria all the way up into the mountains.
the trail offers a natural history experience that's hard to find in an urban setting.
So it's pristine habitat. There are wild animals, there are bear, there are bobcat. There is no houses back there, so it really is like leaving civilization behind when you get up there.
There are rattlesnakes, but it's like any trail that you hike, you just watch where you put your feet and your hands.
What we love about this, first of all, is that it gives us access to freedom. This is a space that gives us opportunity to experience something beyond our normal day-to-day experience, and we're just thrilled about it.
And it's really accessible too from downtown.
What you get poking a stick in a gopher hole or climbing a tree and relating to nature is as important, some people think, as building a synagogue or a temple or a library in a town. Having access to nature is extremely important.
Second day in a row.
Oh, really?
The access to the trail is open to hikers, bicyclists, and people on horseback.
It's very unusual because there's not many places in California where the top of the watershed is so close to the ocean beach. So that makes it something that you can do in a few hours to go through all of that different types of environmental niches.
Users are asked to be respectful to the trail and the surrounding private property. The trail rules and etiquette are posted on the kiosks near the trailhead. Both locals and visitors had a lot to celebrate at the trail opening. Another festive accomplishment for Carpinterians, as called out by Mayor Brad Stein.
We've done so many things over the last 20 years, so this from the ocean and the bluffs, the salt marsh, all the way now to the peaks behind us. This is terrific. We're bringing it to the community, the region, and the state.
This has truly been a collaboration of so many partners and so many community members.
Oh, there was a support from our council, support from our general plan, support from our planning staff, and support from the Parks Department.
It was quite an undertaking, and we did it.
I think this is going to make Carpinterians not just some of the world's greatest surfers, but some of the best hikers, backpackers, and mountaineers, because from here, someone with an imagination like Johnny Appleseed could walk over to the Atlantic Ocean. What's to stop us?
People of Carpinteria have one of the nicest little spots on the California coast. They've known it, and they've taken care of it, and they continue to.
Whoever donated for this cause, it's thank you. Thank you and thank you.